This has huge implications on the San Jose Sharks' future as Will Smith notches another 2-point game, and so does Macklin Celebrini. And with this, they make some Sharks history as head coach Ryan Warsofsky has to be happy despite the losses with the incredible production of these two guys. We got to dive into exactly what Will Smith has done and the shocking statistics over his last 13 games and a little update on Celebrini as well. We got a lot of stuff coming up on this episode of Sharks Digest. But guys, just a quick reminder to hit the free subscribe button down below. Most of you watching are not subscribed, and we have Sharks news all season long, heading into the draft, heading into next year. And if you want to stay up to date, this is the spot to be. Mark, let's start off though with a bit of Celebrini talk. And first, let's just show the box score from last night's game. We'll talk about the Celebrini injury in a second, but feel free to pause, have a look at this as always. There's some great stuff that happened in yesterday's game. Yes, 5-3 loss. Never nice. Ottawa snapping a losing streak against us, the Sharks, but the main things I want to focus on, we'll get to Will Smith in just a bit, but I want to talk a bit about Celebrini first. Another 2 assist mark. His stats this season have been off the chart, really. 44 points in 49 games. I don't know if this is still correct or not, but I saw someone saying he has more points than any Canucks player, so, or any Canucks forward, I should say. But still, very, very interesting stuff. Celebrini himself, I know he did get injured last night, Mark, which has a bit of an impact on the rest of the way for the San Jose Sharks, but I feel like I just can't help but be wowed every single day with him. There's a lot of people saying he's no longer the Calder favorite, but, if he can come back from this lower body injury, if he can keep playing the rest of the year, I still think this is absolutely his to take.
I mean, looking at his stats, we've seen him miss the start of the season with an injury, but 18 goals, 26 assists for 44 points. This is an insane start to a career for a young center that's already looking like a bit of a veteran when he's on the ice. We see him back checking his defensive game, putting up stats. He's going to score 20 goals. I think Celebrini, if he does come back from this injury, if he's not held out long term, should win the Calder. Obviously, as a Sharks fan, you want to see him win, but his impact on the ice, not even just putting up points, but just the overall face-off percentage. Like I said, the defensive game. This kid is going to be a franchise and a star player in the NHL, and we're seeing it right among our eyes in the start of his career.
Yeah, you could argue he already is a star player. I mean, to me, he is. Every single night out there, he has a case for being the best player on the ice. He's nearly touching 20 minutes in a lot of games, just like last night. I mean, he's had some games over 20. And like you said, the faceoffs too. While he's not above 50% this year, 48.5% from an 18-year-old rookie center is borderline unheard of. It's extremely rare to be even close to 50, especially on the volume of draws he's taking against other top centers on other teams. So the injury is a big thing. And you can only hope that this doesn't hurt him too much going down the rest of the year. Because again, like a few injuries already is kind of like it starts to get worrisome. But look, I'm not worried. Young body, he can bounce back. So just some amazing stuff from Celebrini. But Mark, we got to talk about Will Smith. Like he is the guy that we wanted to focus on. Now, a lot of scouts were saying before the Sharks got Will Smith, like, hey, like he's going to take a bit of time to acclimate to the NHL. And I think we've seen it now. And with his goal in yesterday's game versus Ottawa, the Sharks have multiple rookies with double-digit goals, Smith and Celebrini now for the 6th time in franchise history, but it's the first time in 12 years. The last time it happened was Matt Nieto and Tomas Hertl, which is insane to think that it's been that long, first of all. But then again, I guess it's kind of tough to have 2 rookies who are having such good performances like this. But Will Smith, Mark, has been unbelievable. Taking a look at his last stretch of games is it's insane. 13 points in his last 13 games, including back-to-back 2-point nights against Montreal and Ottawa. And look, they play Toronto on Monday. Maybe he can continue that. I know it took him a little while, like a lot of us were expecting, to finally get into that groove in the NHL. Of course, we saw him start to play a bit with Granlund before Granlund was traded. That seemed to spark him. But right now, he has looked unbelievable over this last stretch of games, and there's no indication that this is going to stop anytime soon.
And I mean, the biggest thing is everyone looks at this team, and Celebrini is the name that pops up. Obviously, this is the most flashy name, but Will Smith is a guy that's been severely underrated around the National Hockey League. I mean, like you said, looking at his last 13 games, going on a huge point streak, this was a guy that we seen the coach and Grier talk about how he was so dominant in college. He took maybe a tiny bit of a step back joining the Sharks in his first year, but he's finally starting to find his footing. I think he's top 6 still in rookie scoring in the National Hockey League. And as I said, if Celebrini wasn't on this team, and listen, we want Celebrini to be on this team, but if he wasn't, I think Will Smith would get a lot of more recognition than he is currently getting. I mean, the biggest thing with Mike Grier, he went out, he filled the center positions with awesome pieces in the drafts, and I do think Will Smith is going to be the number 2 center of the future for this team.
I think he very well could be, right? Seeing him get some more reps at center is going to be great over the next little while and see how long, I assume that's sort of the plan long term. He's played a bit of wing this year, right? He can play center, he can go down the middle, but everything about him so far this season has really set off a lot of, green lights in my mind, right? There's no red flags. It's all just green flags right now with Will Smith, teal flags. Why don't you? Like right now, he has looked more impressive every single night that I've watched him, right? And there, you start to get into games like you did in that Ottawa game where you're like, okay, yeah, he's making more of an impact than maybe he did a couple months ago. You're seeing him more. You're seeing how good he can produce. But again, like the team is not winning maybe as much as we want, despite Celebrini putting up unbelievable numbers and still probably being the Calder favorite. Though you do have the camps in Montreal and Philadelphia going for their guys. Look, we got a lot of great rookie seasons this year, and even like Dustin Wolf in Calgary. Nothing to take away from those guys, but look at what Celebrini's doing, right? But Will Smith finally coming up and doing his thing as well. The only thing to look forward to, not the only thing to look forward to. I mean, the main thing we want to look at going forward this season for the Sharks is the standings and the state of the Tankathon right now. Again, this comes from Tankathon, and as of right now, the recording of this video, the Sharks have the best odds for the first overall pick. Look, 8-game losing streak, 1-6-3 in the last 10 games, but the San Jose Sharks, again, when they're showing their prospects for the future here, we're seeing Celebrini, we're seeking Will Smith, we're even seeing like Mukamba Doolin play some more. I mean, again, he's not as young as these other guys or as highly touted. There's a lot of young guys still playing great this year, Eklund and Zetterlund, things like that. So right now, though, Mark, with the number one odds at the number one overall pick, with this production from Celebrini, from a lot of their young guys, and even a guy like Askarov ready in the wings to take over in net, I don't think it's crazy to say that this team has the single brightest future in the league. And again, with the top odds at number one overall, I think Matthew Schaefer makes a great fit to just bolster this blue line. It's hard to plan out a rebuild better than the Sharks have done in this last little while.
And I mean, that's why the future is teal at this point. Looking at the Sharks getting a number one overall pick once again, this is a team, too, that, yes, they might be in statistically the worst team in the NHL. But looking at the numbers, a lot of these games, what was it, almost 30 games they've lost by one goal.
Yeah.
This is a team that could be higher up in the standings. This could be a team that could be flirting around the 15th spot. Obviously, with where the team is, you want another high pick. Schaefer would be awesome to add to this team.
Yeah.
I think defense is the main part. But I'm going to kind of throw it back to you. Do you think Mike Grier might be out there as one of the best general managers, to kind of rebuild a team? Like, I think a lot of people slept on this guy, and they're seeing for how he's built within that this guy might be the perfect general manager.
I mean, like, look, I feel like I might be getting a bit ahead of myself, but it's hard to contain the excitement with how good this team looks for the future. I mean, look, I think any team getting that number one pick and having the option to pick Macklin Celebrini is going to take Macklin Celebrini. Though then again, the number one pick isn't always obvious. You sometimes see teams go off the board, but based on the moves he's made, getting some assets back for Granlund and Ceci, as much as a lot of us would have liked to see Granlund maybe stick around, I think the stuff he got back for makes a lot of sense. His ability to control the timeline of this team with when to trade for picks, when to try and get assets seems to be really good as well. And it's just yet to be seen. But for right now, I'm excited to see what else is going to happen moving forward with the Sharks. I mean, he's done a lot more than just that in terms of the rebuild. He's done so many things. Let us know your favorite Mike Grier move so far down below. We'd love to hear from you because that'll do it for this episode of Sharks Digest. There's a lot to look forward to for the future. I know it's a losing streak right now, but every single game comes with bright spots. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching. I've been Josh Gosse, my co-host, Mark Pye. We'll catch you in the next one.